We've been looking at human rights. We're going to move on to the law today. But just thinking about it, what if the Magna Carta was never made? Would that have had an influence on our human rights today? Press pause and have a think. Okay, some legal ages quizzes for you then. There are many different things on the screen that you are allowed to do legally at certain ages. Can you have a guess what age you are legally allowed to do these at? Press pause, write down your answers. And the answers are: agree to have sex is 16, vote is 18, drive a car is 17. Now, just thinking about those three are things that legally will affect you guys really, really soon. What do we think? Do we think they should be changed? Do we think they are okay where they are? I want you to have a little think about an argument to change one of them, either higher or lower. Press pause and have a think. Okay, next one, stand as an MP or MEP is 18. Buy alcohol with a meal is actually 16. So in some pubs, and it's down to them whether they let you, you can go to eat a meal and you can have, I think it's half a beer or a small glass of wine or something like that. And then you can think about the reasons why. Obviously, food soaks up the alcohol content and all those things. And you do generally tend to have an adult with you as well. Buy cigarettes is 18. It used to be 16 back when I was at school, a long time ago. However, you'd got school kids who were 16 in their school uniforms going out to school to buy cigarettes, which then kind of gave rise to 14, 15-year-olds doing it, and the shopkeepers couldn't differentiate the age between who it was. Obviously, we know there is a massive NHS burden caused by smoking cigarettes, and I suppose the aim is if you delay it for longer, people won't start smoking, because obviously smoking isn't actually something like good. It doesn't really give you any benefits. So the only reason people take it up is if their friends do. So if you delay it till 18, hopefully you'll have got out of that bit by then. But then of course loads of kids smoke, we know that. Get a tattoo legally is 18. Drive a moped under 50cc is 16. Get married with parental consent is 16. Without is 18. Have your own passport is a trick question. It's any age. View an extreme horror film is 18. And you can think about the different arguments that there are surrounding that. So you have got the fact that younger children may have watched videos that aren't, very nice and that may have encouraged some of their behaviour. The two boys who murdered Jamie Bulger, they were 10, they'd watched extreme horror films and actually acted out some of the things in there. However, you've got an awful lot of people who do watch more horror films and obviously don't commit murder. So there's the other way around as well. Join the army and fight for your country is 18. You can join at 16, but to actually fight for your country is 18. Buy alcohol in a bar is 18. Own a house is 18. You can rent at 16, but not own your own home, because to own your own home you have to sign a legal contract with a solicitor, and you can't do that until you're 18. Play the lottery is 16, which is kind of confusing because it's 18 to gamble. And then get full rate national minimum wage is 25. Right, so those are all of our different ages, our different age ranges. Yeah. Okay, there was just two lads on the screen. Can you remember what they look like? Would you be able to write a description of them? The only reason I'm asking is that if you were to witness a crime, you might be asked to give a witness statement and you might not know what's really happened or what's gone on, and that's how quick it can happen. You can often be included in the law and the legal system by being a witness. You don't have to have committed a crime yourself. On the board, we've got a street skiing, and in this, there were lots of different crimes going on. If you rewind back, you might be able to have a look, and there's some of them that are going on. Which one of those offences do you think is the most serious, and why? Press pause and have a go at answering it. Okay, there are some names of some famous people on the screen. Some of them you might have heard of, some of them you might not. So we know Ryder is the mom from Stranger Things. Before that, she's always been a very kind of well-known film actress. She's been in films like Beetlejuice, and starred with Johnny Depp and people like that. So she was in Edward Scissorhands, if you've seen that. Halle Berry is a very famous actress. She's the first woman of colour to have won an Oscar. She's been in one of the Bond films. She's played Catwoman and quite a few other roles. Ashley Walters is Asher D. He's an actor in the show Top Boy. You might have seen him in. He used to be part of a group called So Solid Crew back when I was young. Princess Anne is the Queen's sister or daughter, I can't ever remember. Robbie Williams, you've probably heard of him. Paris Hilton is an heiress to the Hilton hotel chain, so she was kind of like the original Kim Kardashian. Jonathan Woodgate, I don't know if he still is, he was the manager of Middlesbrough. He's also a Premier League footballer. Cheryl, I don't know what her last name is now. She was Cheryl Tweedy. She got married and possibly divorced. And then Caroline Flack, you might have heard of. Can you think what all of those have got in common? And the answer is they have all appeared in court. So if we go through a few of them that I can remember. Asher D got caught holding a gun, so an offensive arms weapon. Robbie Williams stole lyrics off somebody else and didn't pay them royalties. Queen Anne, her dog attacked some children. Cheryl Tweedy, whatever her name is now, back when she was in her original girl group, Girls Aloud, they were sort of just got famous, just won whatever one of those terrible reality shows it is. And her and the rest of Girls Aloud went to a club. When you're older, you'll know, when COVID's over, you'll be able to say, when you go into a club, very often in the toilets there are people working in there who sell things like mouthwash and bubble gums, possibly condoms, lollipops, those kind of things. And they're there to make money, make a living. Now, it's a horrible way to make a living. Who wants to sit in toilets selling lollipops to drunken people? But it's a living. And Cheryl Tweedy went up to one of these people in the toilets in a nightclub and demanded a lollipop, and the woman said, you know, you've got to pay for it. And Cheryl Tweedy did the whole, don't you know who I am, I'm famous kind of thing, and called her a black bitch and thumped her. So she went to court for racially aggravated assault. Caroline Flack, I don't think she quite ever made it to court. Obviously, there was the awful circumstance and she committed suicide, but she was in trouble for, I think she'd hit her partner, hadn't she? Trying to think who else was on there. Okay, so basically, Halle Berry, she had a car accident and didn't stop. Winona Ryder actually shoplifted from one of those really famous boutiques in LA where everything's like thousands of pounds. Now, she could afford it. She just, you know, struggled a bit with life in general. Okay, there we go. So we've got all of those people and what they have done. Right, so crime then. Crime statistics are really hard to understand. There are different crime statistics that we get. We've got something called the British Crime Survey, which measures people's experience of crime. So that basically asks people, have you suffered any crime this year? And people answer. Now, obviously, they can exaggerate to make it sound worse. They can lie to hide it. But sometimes it's better than police statistics because obviously police statistics, first of all, a crime's got to be reported, then it's got to be recorded. So lots of different statistics, and we'll go into this in much more detail in a few lessons' time. Some facts you need to be aware of though: it is young men who are most at risk of being a victim of crime, believe it or not. We tend to think it's little old ladies, but actually it's not. It's young men ages 16 to 24, and they're most at risk of being a victim of crime. About 28% to a third of people are likely to be a victim of crime in their lifetime, and 1 in 4 young people admit to having committed a crime. So, some quiz questions for you. Who commit more crimes, boys or girls? Have a guess. And the answer is boys. Which type of crime are young people most likely to be arrested for? What is the minimum age when someone can be held responsible for breaking the law? The answer for this one is 10, and we'll be discussing that in a later lesson. Which type of court deals with 95% of all cases? And the answer is magistrate court. So who commit more crimes was boys. The correct answer for this one: theft and handling stolen goods. 10, magistrates court. And that, ladies and gents, is it.